I never thought I'd be airing my marital troubles online, but here I am. I'm a 35-year-old man, and my wife, whom I'll call Sarah, not her real name, is 32. We've been married for 7 years, together for a decade, and fortunately, we don't have children. Over the last few months, Sarah has formed friendships with a group of women, mostly single or divorced, who seem to have a negative view of relationships and have been influencing her in troubling ways. Since she started spending time with them, Sarah's behavior has shifted noticeably. At first, it was subtle, hard to pinpoint. She began going out for girls' nights more frequently. Initially, it was just an occasional drink, which I didn't mind. But soon, it became a near-weekly ritual: bars, clubs, late nights. She'd come home late, sometimes tipsy, occasionally outright intoxicated. She used to send me a quick message if she'd be out late, but lately it's been radio silence or curt replies like, "Don't stay up." Our connection has frayed. She's grown distant, both emotionally and physically. We used to spend evenings together, even if it was just watching a show or chatting about our day. Now, she's either out with her friends or engrossed in her phone, texting them. When I suggest a date night or even something simple like cooking together, she dismisses me, saying she's busy or not in the mood. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe she just needed some social time, I reasoned. People go through phases, don't they? But then, certain behaviors raised alarms I couldn't ignore. She started putting extra effort into her appearance for the gym or these outings. New clothes, heavy makeup, even for workouts or casual drinks. She became secretive with her phone. We used to share our phones freely for things like music or quick searches. Now, hers is locked with a new passcode, always in her hand. If I even glance at it, she angles it away. A few times, I walked in while she was texting or on a call, and she'd abruptly stop or hush her friend on speaker. Once, I overheard part of a FaceTime conversation where her friend said something like, "You deserve better if he's not giving you what you need." Sarah quickly shushed her when she noticed me nearby. That comment, about deserving better if I wasn't giving her attention, stuck with me. It felt like her friends were pushing her to seek validation outside our marriage, possibly from other men. I'll admit I haven't been the most attentive husband lately. Work has been overwhelming and I've been stressed, maybe even a bit down. Our physical intimacy has waned, partly because I've been exhausted. I take responsibility for that, but I've never mistreated her, and I didn't think things were so dire that she'd look elsewhere. About 3 weeks ago, things took a turn. Sarah started mentioning a guy from the gym, let's call him Matt. She'd drop his name casually. Matt did this lift, Matt shared a smoothie recipe. It was odd, she never used to talk about other men like that. It was always just her and her female friends at yoga or spin class. Suddenly, Matt was a recurring topic. When I asked who he was, she got defensive, saying he's just a guy from her fitness group who chats with her and her friend. She insisted he was just a friend and that I was overreacting. I let it go, but something felt off, especially the way she smiled when she mentioned him. A week later, I came home early to find Sarah getting ready for another girls' night. She was dressed to impress. High heels, a tight dress, full makeup, and perfume she usually saves for special occasions. She claimed they were just hitting a laid-back bar. I half joked, "You sure you're not going on a date?" She snapped that I was being paranoid and that her friends had pointed out I don't value her anymore. That stung. I asked what she meant, and she said I'd been emotionally and physically absent lately. Her friends had noticed, she said, and added, "Maybe if you showed me more attention, I wouldn't need to find it elsewhere." That phrase, "find it elsewhere," hit hard. I pressed her on what she meant, and she backtracked, saying she just meant she craves validation, which her friends provide. Then she rushed out, saying she was late and we'd talk later. I was left reeling. I poured a drink and sat there, questioning everything. Had I pushed her away unintentionally? Was this partly my fault? But even if I'd been distant, cheating isn't the solution. If she was unhappy, we could have talked or sought counseling, not whatever her friends were encouraging. Speaking of her friends, here's some background because they're a big part of this. Friend A, Lisa, recently divorced and bitter about men. Sarah mentioned Lisa's ex cheated, and the divorce was ugly. Lisa seems to project her pain, telling Sarah that men are selfish and she should live life on her terms, which apparently means acting unattached. Friend B, Emma, engaged with a wedding planned for next year, but you wouldn't know it from how Sarah describes her nights out. Emma's the wildest, partying, dancing provocatively with strangers, doing shots. I can't fathom how her fiancé tolerates it, assuming he even knows. Friend C, Zoe, the youngest, single, and in an on-again, off-again relationship. Zoe's a free spirit who rejects commitment and seems to think everyone else should too. These are the voices in my wife's ear. When I met them briefly at a brunch months ago, they seemed nice enough, just yoga class buddies. But now it's clear they're convincing Sarah I'm neglecting her and that she deserves to have fun. I can only guess what fun means. So here's where I stood. I suspected Sarah might be flirting or worse, encouraged by these toxic friends. She denied anything physical, claiming they're just boosting her confidence, but the secrecy, defensiveness, and that "find it elsewhere" comment made me think there's more. I was torn. This didn't feel like just one person cheating. It was like her friends were cheering her on to sabotage our marriage. I hadn't caught her in the act, but my instincts screamed something was wrong. Was I overreacting? Should I handle this differently? I felt like I was losing my wife to these women and their reckless lifestyle, and I didn't know how to stop it. Update 1 a few days later. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. The mix of tough love and encouragement helped me feel less alone. Many of you suggested I needed concrete proof before confronting Sarah, as accusations without evidence could lead to denial or gaslighting. Some recommended a firm talk, others a private investigator. I decided to try talking to her again, and if that failed, gather evidence discreetly. I chose a calm moment, Sunday afternoon, and sat Sarah down. I expressed my concern about her recent changes and how her friends seemed to be pushing her toward behavior that could ruin us. I admitted I'd been distant and offered to work on it, but asked her to set boundaries with her friends and any guys like Matt, who seemed too close. The conversation tanked. Sarah got defensive, accusing me of attacking her and her friends. "So now my social life is the issue, you just hate that I'm not glued to you," she said. I stayed calm and said her social life was fine, but not if it disrespected our marriage. I brought up Matt, saying his constant presence in her stories worried me. She rolled her eyes, insisting he's just a gym buddy, and I was blowing it out of proportion. I reminded her of her "find it elsewhere" comment. She got icy, saying I was misinterpreting her words. She only meant she felt lonely, and her friends, including Matt, gave her the attention I hadn't. She blamed me, saying I'd been emotionally absent first, practically forcing her to seek out others. That stung, but I saw the conversation turning into a blame fest. I suggested counseling. She laughed it off, saying, "What, so a therapist can tell you to stop neglecting me? No thanks." Desperate, I asked point-blank if she or her friends were messing around with other guys. She deflected, saying, "What, are you going to stalk me now? You're ridiculous." She didn't deny or confirm, just dodged. I said, "If you're hiding nothing, you shouldn't mind me checking, right?" She called me controlling and stormed out to clear her head. When she returned that evening, we barely spoke. She chose to sleep in the guest room, a first. I felt hopeless. Talking was useless. She was either in denial or fully bought into her friend's logic. She showed no remorse, acting like I was the problem for questioning her. I decided to get evidence. Many of you suggested it, and my gut agreed. If she was going to paint me as the villain, I needed undeniable proof. I have two close friends, Tom and Jake, who I trust completely. We've been tight since college, and they knew about my concerns with Sarah. Tom, who'd been cheated on before, was especially insistent I get the truth. When I told them about the possibility of Sarah and her friends acting out during their nights out, they offered to help. Conveniently, Sarah mentioned another girl's night planned for Friday, almost tauntingly. The morning after our fight, she casually said, "I'm going out with the girls Friday, don't wait up." I just said, "Okay," hiding my anger. I told Tom and Jake about Friday. The plan was for them to discreetly visit the same bar or club, observe Sarah and her friends, and document any suspicious behavior, like flirting or worse, with photos or videos. Both are single, so they'd blend in easily. They even joked about it being a mission like our old college days. It's Wednesday night as I write this. Friday is 2 days away. Sarah's been distant, acting like our fight never happened. We're in a tense standoff at home, polite small talk, no warmth. She's texting her friends constantly, excitedly planning Friday's outfits. I'm bracing for what we might uncover. Tom and Jake are ready, planning to arrive early to scope out the venue. I gave them descriptions of Sarah's friends to identify them. Update 2, Saturday morning after Friday night. Last night was the stakeout. I stayed home, telling Sarah I was having a low-key night. She left dressed to kill, tight dress, heels, heavy makeup. She barely said goodbye, just a quick later. I spent the night pacing, trying to distract myself with TV, but my mind was racing. Tom and Jake texted to confirm they'd arrived and spotted the group. Around midnight, Tom messaged, "Man, it's bad getting videos." My heart sank. I asked for details, but he didn't reply right away. Those 20 minutes felt endless, my imagination running wild. At 12:30 a.m., Jake texted, "We're leaving, got plenty of footage, talk soon." They came to my house after, despite the late hour. Sarah wasn't home yet, which fueled my anger. It was past 1 a.m. for a girls' night. We gathered quietly in the living room, lights low to avoid suspicion if Sarah returned. Tom looked grim, saying, "I'm sorry, man," as he pulled up a video. The footage was devastating. The first clip showed Sarah's friends on the dance floor, surrounded by random guys. Emma, the engaged one, was grinding on a stranger, acting single. Zoe was just as wild, with guys' hands all over her. In the same video, I saw Sarah at the bar, leaning close to a tall guy in a collared shirt. The music drowned out their words, but her flirty gestures, hair twirling, touching his arms, spoke volumes. Another clip, shakier, showed Sarah and the same guy dancing closely, his hands on her waist and back. She laughed, draping her arms around his neck as they moved together. I had to look away, furious. Tom urged me to watch the next one. It showed Sarah making out with the guy against a wall near the club's back. Lisa was nearby, kissing another man. It was like a hookup zone. Seeing my wife passionately kissing a stranger, her hands in his hair, his on her body, crushed me. I asked if she left with him, terrified she'd gone further. Jake said no, she stayed with her friends until closing while the guy left with his buddies. It was a small relief. The kissing was bad enough, but at least she didn't go home with him as far as they saw. Her friends, though, were worse. Emma left with a guy hand in hand after making out with him. Her fiancé's in for a shock. Lisa, drunk, was kissing a guy and disappeared toward the bathrooms with him. They didn't film there, but the implication was clear. She later rejoined Sarah. One detail gutted me. In a zoomed-in clip, Sarah's wedding ring was gone. She'd worn it when she left, but her ring finger was bare in the footage. Whether she took it off at the club or left it off from the start, it felt like a deliberate choice to act single. We finished around 2 a.m. I thanked Tom and Jake, who were supportive, saying they had my back. Tom said, "Whatever you do, you're not wrong. She crossed a line." Sarah came home around 2:30 a.m., stumbling in. I pretended to be asleep, unable to face her without losing it. She showered, slipped into bed, and slept like nothing happened. It took everything not to confront her. Now, Saturday morning, she's still asleep, oblivious to the videos on my phone, proof of her and her friend's betrayal. I haven't confronted her yet. I'm planning to send the footage to Emma's fiancé and Lisa's boyfriend anonymously. They deserve to know. As for my marriage, I can't see a way forward. Trust is shattered. The woman in those videos isn't someone I can stay with. Update 3, 48 hours later. I spent the weekend processing and preparing. On Sunday, I compiled the clearest clips and screenshots. That evening, I anonymously sent them to Emma's fiancé. Let's call him Dan, and Lisa's boyfriend, Mike. I found Dan's email via his Facebook profile and confirmed Mike as Lisa's partner through her social media. My message was short. Sorry to send this, but you need to know. This video, taken Friday at Club Name, shows your fiancé/girlfriend acting inappropriately. I have more if needed. A concerned friend. Dan replied, asking for more details and my identity. I stayed anonymous but sent another clip of Emma kissing a stranger and confirmed I was someone who knew the group and wanted him to know before marrying. He didn't respond after that. Mike sent a brief text. "Thanks for the heads up." I assume he ended things with Lisa. The fallout was quick. By Monday noon, Emma was raging at Sarah via text, blaming me for destroying her life. Sarah came home early, demanding if I sent the videos. I admitted I did, saying Dan deserved to know just as I deserved to know about her. Sarah broke down, sobbing, claiming the kiss was a one-time mistake, driven by her friend's pressure and our marital issues. She swore it was just flirting and a drunken kiss, nothing more, and that she'd planned to stop. I asked about Matt and her other nights out. She admitted to texting Matt for an ego boost but denied anything physical. As for the ring, she said her friends suggested taking it off to play the part and not deter guys. She claimed she felt guilty and put it back on in the cab home. I told her our marriage was over. "You didn't just slip up," I said. "You lied, badmouthed me, sought out another man, and cheated. You chose this." She blamed her loneliness and my distance, saying her friends convinced her I didn't care. I snapped. "If you were unhappy, you could have talked to me. You chose betrayal." She admitted her fault, but begged me not to end a decade over one night. I countered that it wasn't one night, it was weeks of deceit. She saw I wasn't budging. I told her to pack a bag and stay elsewhere, maybe with her friends if they'd have her. "I need space and can't have her here. I'm contacting a lawyer to start divorce proceedings. With no kids, a rental, and separate finances, it should be straightforward. Sarah's staying at her parents' for now, only telling them we're having issues. Her friend group is in tatters. Dan ended the engagement, Mike likely dumped Lisa, and they're all blaming each other. I'm drained but resolute. With support from Tom, Jake, and my family, and plans to see a therapist, I'll get through this.